Hello, BookTube. Welcome back to the History Shelf. I am your host, Peg. It is Halloween, and I am attempting to get some videos made to catch up on everything that I've been missing the last, well, it feels like 2 weeks, but probably just 10 days. But anyway, this video is just to share with you, it's Nonfiction November starting tomorrow, and I can't pass that up. Being the History Shelf and being the major nonfiction reader that I am, I'm just going to tell you some of the things I'm working on this month. It is not comprehensive because I have new book review assignments coming in all the time, so it'll probably grow. But I have a few books I just wanted to give you an update on of what I've already started reading and will be reading soon as far as nonfiction goes. So let's start with, right now I'm doing a buddy read. I'm doing a buddy read with Bill Rutenberg. We're getting there. We're getting very close to finishing, as you can see, if you can see my bookmark. Probably not. I am right here, and I've got a little bit more to go. Of Catastrophe, 1914, Europe Goes to War by Max Hastings. Getting a lot of Max Hastings the last month or two. I just read and reviewed his newest book coming out, or it already has come out, The Abyss. Nuclear Crisis Cuba, 1962, which is fabulous. And I posted my reviews on all my social media channels. You can check me out in the comment section below. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and always be apprised of my reviews when they are posted. But right now we're taking it back to 1914, and we're going in depth, and it's been a great read. Bill and I are leaving messages for one another roughly every week or so, and we've got about four chapters left, but they're big ones. So I'm reading that, and I will be reading that into November. I'm still reading it through October. So, but a brand new book that I just started last night, and I'll be reading this November, is Empire of Ice and Stone, The Disastrous and Heroic Voyage of the Karluk by Buddy Levy, which I mentioned in a past video this was a new, I think this was on the last video I made, New History on the Horizon. I'm writing a review of this for Shelf Awareness, so I have about a week to read this. So it won't be all month in November, but it will be the first week of November that I'm reading this. And I'll just give you a quick rundown on this. And I reviewed his last book, Labyrinth of Ice, which was fantastic. I reviewed that on Open Letters Review. It says here, set against the backdrop of the Titanic disaster in World War I, filled with heroism, tragedy, and scientific discovery, Empire of Ice and Stone tells the story of two men, Captain Bob Bartlett and Vilhjalmur Stefansson, who held distinctly different brands of leadership. Though the former was selfless, while the latter was self-serving, they would forever be bound by one of the most audacious and disastrous expeditions in polar history, what many consider the last great voyage of the heroic age of discovery. And it's already pulled me in. I love these adventure stories set in like Antarctica or Arctic exploration. Just love it. So I'll be reading this the first week of November. Another book that I don't have a physical copy to show you that I also need to read this week for review for another publication is a new book coming out. Oh, and I should say Empire of Ice and Stone will be out in December. This is published in December 6th. So the next book I'm reviewing, I think, is out next year, but it is called The Watchmaker's Daughter, The True Story of World War II Heroine Corrie ten Boom by Larry Loftus. So I don't have a picture with me right now or the book to hold up. This is a straight-up ebook copy that I'm reading, and the ebook doesn't really have a cover, just the front piece with the text. So anyway, I'll be reading a biography. It says it's the first ever biography on Corrie ten Boom, who was known as being well, let me give you a little rundown. Let me do this. I'm going to read it from the screen if you don't mind. So, New York Times bestselling author and master of nonfiction spy thrillers Larry Loftus writes the first major biography of Corrie ten Boom, a Dutch watchmaker who saved the lives of hundreds of Jews during World War II, at the cost of losing her family and being sent to a concentration camp, only to survive, forgive her captors, and live the rest of her life as a Christian missionary. So it's kind of reminiscent. It says here it's reminiscent of Schindler's List, and it's kind of a nice mixture of faith. It appeals to me for sure. So when I was assigned this book, I was like, "Oh, this is right where I want to go at this time of year, or just this time of in our world." So it sounds pretty inspiring, and I'm looking forward to it. So that one I also need to start reading this week. And let's move back here. Okay. In this book, I'm reading and reviewing for the Saber and Scroll Journal, which is an academic journal that full disclosure, I am the marketing director for. I work with the editor, and I also write book reviews for each issue. And typically each issue I try to provide something. If not every issue, I think it's quarterly. I try to get in at least a couple of book reviews a year, in addition to just monitoring the marketing aspect. So it's how much time I have. But I did sign up for this book because it sounds wonderful. So this one I'll be reviewing, and I need to read this in the first 2 weeks of November. I'll be reading Our Man in Tokyo, An American Ambassador in the Countdown to Pearl Harbor by Steve Kemper. So this book is coming out in November, and I got a review copy from, and I'm sorry, I should be mentioning these publishers here. So Our Man in Tokyo is Mariner Books. Should have mentioned that. Empire of Ice and Stone is St. Martin's Press. And good old 1914 was Knopf. But, okay. So this book is coming out, doesn't have the specific date. Will be coming out, in November, which starts tomorrow. I keep thinking it's November already. Not yet. So what do we have here? In 1932, Japan was in crisis. Naval officers had assassinated the prime minister, and conspiracies flourished. The military had a stranglehold on the government. War with the Soviet Union loomed, and propaganda campaigns swept the country, urging school children to give money to procure planes and tanks. Into this maelstrom stepped Joseph C. Grew, America's most experienced and talented diplomat. When Grew was appointed ambassador to Japan, not only was the country in turmoil, but its relationship with America was also rapidly deteriorating. For the next decade, Grew attempted to warn American leaders about the risks of Japan's raging nationalism and rising militarism, while also trying to stabilize Tokyo's increasingly erratic and volatile foreign policy. From domestic terrorism by Japanese extremists to the global rise of Hitler and the fateful attack on Pearl Harbor, the events that unfolded during Grew's tenure proved to be pivotal for Japan and for the world. His dispatches from the darkening heart of the Japanese Empire would prove prescient for his time and for our own. Drawing on Grew's diary of his time in Tokyo, as well as on U.S. Embassy correspondence, diplomatic dispatches, and first-hand Japanese accounts, Our Man in Tokyo brings to life a man who risked everything to avert another world war, the country where he staked it all, and the abyss that swallowed it. Fabulous. I'm just looking at some of the other work that Steve Kemper has done. I'm trying to see if I've read something else by him. He has written A Splendid Savage, The Restless Life of Frederick Russell Burnham. Oh, I think I have this book, but I haven't read it yet. He's written A Labyrinth of Kingdoms, 10,000 Miles Through Islamic Africa, and that's the one I have. And Codename Ginger, the story behind Segway and Dean Kamen's quest to invent a new world. All right, but this sounds fabulous. I've heard of Grew, and that he was kind of had his finger on the pulse of everything, and he was prescient. This is going to be really good. I'm looking forward to this. So I've got quite a few books, 3 pretty big books to finish in the first 10 days or so of November. So I got to get cranking. These 2 are pretty big, and I've just begun The Empire of Ice and Stone. I got to get cranking. I go away for a week to work, and you come back and you got the books piled up. plus The Watchmaker's Daughter. I've got to get that done by next week as well. Well, you know what Peggy will be doing while Martina's out of town? You know, she'll be reading. She'll have her nose in the books. That's why I'm trying to make some videos all at once and kind of get them ready for you guys for this week. Okay, so the next book is nonfiction, and this is another buddy read that I'll be starting in the middle of the month. And perhaps I'll do some updates to Nonfiction November when I have more books that land on my plate by the middle of the month, because I'm sure I will. But this book, I'll be starting November 15th, and I will be reading this along with John David, another fellow booktuber. I will try to link his channel below. I hope I do remember to. We're going to read the slim little volume. For once, we're not going to take on a huge, massive task that proves impossible. We're going to read The Passions and the Interests, Political Arguments for Capitalism Before Its Triumph by Albert O. Hirschman. As you know, John David and I, you might know this if you've kind of followed both of our channels, we love Princeton University Press. And we are always cleaning house on their 50 or 75% off annual sales. We've got so many Princeton books, and we want to start working through them. A lot of times the titles that we choose overlap. We have similar interests. So we both have this book, and we're like, let's go ahead and take a stab at this and just, read this together, and maybe we can do a wrap-up video for all of y'all. But yeah, we love Princeton, and we love Princeton. They got a new catalog coming out with bueno items, and I cannot wait to share them with you when I get my greedy little hands on them. So again, a small little volume, but it's, essays and politics and philosophy, history, all rolled into one. And I have another Princeton University Press title, which is, I believe, just intellectual biography of Albert O. Hirschman. I'd like to read something of his before I read the biography, and maybe that'll just lead me down to other writings by him. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but this is what I have for right now. But I'm telling you, this is only for the first 2 weeks of November. Well, this one is going to be for the last 2 weeks of November. Well, we're going to take a month to read it. We're just not going to rush it. I'm sure I will have more books that come in. What else am I trying to finish up? I know I'm just getting my head straight after being gone last week. So anyway, guys, I just wanted to share with you some of the things I'm reading. I didn't do the prompts. I apologize for that. I think one of these fits I think one of the prompts is elements. And we got ice, we've got stone, we've got cold. For sure. But I didn't get around to doing the prompts. It's just, I've been back a couple of days and mostly slept. So now I'm trying to get my mind around where I'm at with everything. Well, let me know what you think of these titles, guys. And again, maybe middle of the month, I'll chime back in and say, here's a few more that I'm reading. For Nonfiction November, I highly encourage you to step outside your comfort zone if nonfiction is outside your comfort zone, and, just try something. And of course, I'm going to recommend history, the history shelves right there. Love history. To me, it's better than fiction. It's like this really happened. And it's all about people and stories and drama. And I love it. I am an evangelist for history reading. All right, gang, let me know what you think. I'd love to hear what you're reading. Comment below. Thanks for liking and subscribing. I appreciate all of you. I always miss you when I'm gone for a while. So I'm back. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care. Bye.